Capuchin TV.
And forward ever, backward never. So move ahead. Ahead, ahead.
Endelea kutazama Capuchin TV. Kitambulisho Katoliki.
Hello there and welcome to the Catholic Focus News, where faith meets facts. I'm Asasha Elizabeth, joined by Eric Maluki in interpreting sign language. Today we bring you stories shaping lives across Kenya, from health and agriculture to education, land rights and governance. Let's begin with our top story. The Ministry of Health, alongside strategic partners, has escalated national efforts to curb deaths linked to obstetric fistula, a preventable maternal health complication that continues to claim the lives of Kenyan women. According to Dr. Edward Serem, who is the head of reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child and adolescent health at the Ministry of Health, at least 3,000 women die each year from maternal complications connected to fistula, highlighting persistent gaps in maternal care across the country. Authorities say the intensified initiative will focus on early detection, treatment, and community engagement to reduce fatalities as part of a broader push to improve maternal health outcomes nationwide.
Women are still suffering. I'll give you, in Kenya, we lose about almost like 1,000 to 2,000 every year on conditions related to pregnancy. As a country, we have strategies, and our important thing is to make sure that we sensitize the women, we sensitize the population to be in a position to understand what they need to do. Here we are talking about fistula. In other places, we are talking about postpartum hemorrhage. In other places, we are also seeing cases of eclampsia which are coming up. And now the obstructed labor. All these we are addressing from the Ministry of Health through several programs which we have.
And every year, preventable cancers disproportionately affect women, especially cervical cancer. It causes more than 300,000 deaths annually, especially when there's no HPV vaccine or screening. So how many every year preventable cancers kill women? 300,000, okay? So it's easy to remember. Women still experience obstetric fistulas in many countries, even though other countries have eradicated fistulas nearly 100 years ago. But if even one country is having women with fistulas and is left behind, we're all left behind. Why do we need an International Women's Day? Because 100 million girls worldwide remain out. 12 million girls are married before the age of 18, and 1 in 3 experience gender-based violence in their lifetime. How many? 1 in 3.
Bulletin has collaborated with the Ministry of Health and our other partners, including the Fistula Foundation, the University Hospitals, Johnson & Johnson, and many others, to ensure that we are able to provide life-transforming, holistic care for women of Kilifi County and all its environments. So in the last 10 days, we have been doing surgeries, and we have been able to operate for close to 83 women, I don't have data on my fingers, but around that, I'm sure it's about 80 plus women.
The plight of more than 2,000 squatters in Kiambu County has resurfaced, with the residents renewing their appeal to the government to resolve a land dispute that has dragged on for over 3 decades. The squatters in the committee area say they were allocated the land in 1994 but have never been able to take possession due to prolonged court battles and alleged interference by local administrators. They are now calling on President William Ruto to intervene and help them secure their long-awaited settlement. Alan Andiva reports.
Through the Committee for Squatters Association, led by their chairman Philip Makau, the residents spoke outside the Thika Environment Land Court, appealing to President William Ruto to intervene, saying prolonged court battles have prevented them from taking possession of the land for more than 30 years.
Omba mahakama iweze kusikia kilio chetu, ikuje ground ije itatulie shamba, hiyo mambo ya shamba hapo. Hiyo shamba hao watu wanafanya hii kesi, hakuna mtu ana uhusiano na hiyo shamba. Tuna ukweli, tuna thibitisho, document tuko nazo za kudhihirisha shamba iko mikononi mwetu, tunapelekwa hapa, tunapelekwa pale.
Makau said many of the beneficiaries have already died without receiving the land they were promised, while alleging that some government administrators are involved in the grabbing of the public cemetery in the area.
Ikipeano nikianza kulima hiyo shamba, sasa baadaye watajiri wale wako na nguvu walitutoa.
Na wakati shamba ilipeanwa na rais wa wakati huo Bwana Moi, ndio tulijaribu kuingia na tukaenda tukakata, ilikuwa miti ile ilikuwa imebaki, tukakata ikabaki shamba na nyasi. Sasa from that time mpaka wakati huu tumeteseka, watu wameteseka, wanyonge wameteseka. Neno langu la kwanza ni hii: kuna Mungu ya wanyonge, kuna serikali ambayo inatakikana iangalie wanyonge. Please tafadhali, serikali angalia wanyonge, wasiendelee kuumia na hawana namna, hawana pesa, hawana namna, na ni watoto na wako na watoto. Wetu wakikufa at least atafutiwe hapo, azikwe hapo, sababu hana mali nyingine. Hapo ndio tu ndio anajua.
The residents also asked the court to visit the area and listen to their grievances, saying many of them have no other home other than that. Reporting for the Catholic Focus, I'm Alan Andiva.
From struggles over land to strides in farming, farmers in Busia County have received a major boost after the county government rolled out a multi-million shilling fund aimed at strengthening cooperative societies and supporting agricultural production. More than 70 local groups engaged in crop farming are said to benefit from the initiative that seeks to enhance productivity and improve livelihoods. With that particular report is Gifted Rapalo.
More than 70 cooperative societies and farmers groups in Busia County are smiling all the way to the farm after receiving a funding boost of 54 million shillings from the county government. The funds are expected to support agricultural production and strengthen community-based cooperatives involved in crop farming.
We apologize for that technical hitch, and we'll bring you that report later in our subsequent bulletin. And while fields thrive, heavy rains now are threatening learning in classrooms across the country. With ongoing heavy rains wreaking havoc in many parts of the country, the government is now moving swiftly to support schools affected by the recent floods sweeping across the country. Education Cabinet Secretary Migosi Ogamba says interventions are already underway, including relocating learners from flood-hit classrooms to safer spaces, while teams gather data to determine the full impact.
As heavy rains continue to cause widespread flooding in parts of the country, leaving several schools underwater and disrupting learning, Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba has assured parents, teachers and learners that the ministry is taking prompt action to support affected schools. In Nairobi, learners from some flood-hit schools have already been moved to alternative classrooms to ensure their studies continue uninterrupted. Speaking during a ceremony marking the 65th anniversary of Nyambiria Senior National School, CS Migos confirmed that ministry teams are on ground collecting data on the extent of flooding in schools.
For the students to be able to continue learning. So we are now collecting the data, the information of how the extent of the affection. Then we'll be doing the repairs and have them children go back. So our field teams are already on various of those schools doing what needs to be done so that studying is not disrupted. And where they were affected, some adjustments were made. For example, where a classroom flooded, they were able to move to another classroom to be able to continue learning. So that response is being handled. But our teams are already on the ground. Our field teams are working to ensure that our students, where they are affected, they are moved to safer grounds. So that is being sorted.
Area Member of Parliament, Cleve Gesaro, expressed concern over delayed pending bills which have affected procurements of textbooks and other essentials
within the ministry that are affecting the textbook distribution in grade 10. Most schools are having this challenge, and this is an issue we need to collectively address, both through your ministry and the Committee of Education in Parliament, to ensure all pending bills are addressed and cleared so that these kids do not come and stay in school, just researching from their telephones.
He further raised concerns over unequal distribution of education infrastructure, urged that funds from the Ministry of Housing be utilized to construct additional classrooms for schools in need.
We've had a challenge as a committee, trying even to get the list of beneficiary on infrastructure funding. Sometimes this is hard to come by. CS, this is something we'd like you to put your foot down and ensure that there is equitable distribution of school infrastructure funds to all parts of this country. The child who is in Nyambaria is not from Kitutu Masaba. The child here is from every corner of this nation. So any resource that comes here benefits the child of Kenya.
The ministry says interventions will continue as they assess the full scale of the flooding and its impact on learning across the country. Reporting for Catholic Focus, my name is Frederick Ochieng.
Elsewhere, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has raised concerns over the rising wage bill in county governments, warning that it remains a major financial burden for many counties. SRC Chair Sami Chepkwony says only 6 counties have managed to meet the legally recommended threshold of 35% of revenue spent on salaries. In Murang'a County, Governor Irungu Kang'ata says the wage bill currently accounts for about 51% of the budget, far above the recommended level. He, however, opposes plans to cut staff numbers, arguing that such a move would affect thousands of county employees.
We have 6 counties that have already complied to the 35% threshold. We are working on the others, and the other 41 counties to make sure they also comply. As a country, we are making good progress in terms of managing the wage bill. Just to give you an idea, in 2020, we were 55% as a country. That is counties and national government. But we are glad that last year we're looking at about 40%. But there's still a long way to go, which is as a country to move from 40% to 35%, and we have a very short time to achieve that. We've been slowing down the growth of the wage bill. basically making sure that the increases are not as high. We have also been focusing on productivity. So as SRC, we have a program that rewards public sector employees on productivity. And that is going to be the big thing going forward, because we've also realized that Kenya has one of the lowest productivity rates for public service employees. And we are planning a very big conference in May where we want to galvanize the whole nation to create massive awareness how we can check productivity to where other countries of the world like Singapore are having at the moment. Thank you.
We pay almost 51 to almost to 54% of our total wage bill toward the salaries, and the law says we pay to 35%, and therefore some advices have come that we consider cutting down our employees, which we find it inhumane. We still want every employee to stay with us, but we are racing strongly towards increasing our revenue without increasing taxes. And also, we are now freezing employment, except now for the very, very critical areas, particularly in the health sectors for the dispensaries that we have opened. But the truth is, Murang'a struggles with the wage bill, and it's an area that requires a lot of thinking. 3 years before we came here, people used to delay to get their money. They would delay for 1, 2, 3 months, but now we pay them on time, and these are issues that we are grappling with. There's a judgment that was rendered just the other day by the High Court, which is now compelling counties to ensure that our salaries don't go beyond 35%, and we're only given very few years to comply with that law.
That's all for today's edition of Catholic Focus News. Thank you for staying with us and keeping informed on the issues that matter to our communities. I'm Asasha Elizabeth with Eric Maluki signing. Stay safe, stay blessed, and join us next time for more stories where faith meets facts.
Keep watching Capuchin TV, your staunchly Catholic identity channel. Watching Capuchin TV. For any complaints, comments, or compliments on our programming, you can either write to us on info@capuchintv.co.ke, or you can call us directly on 0717 424 866. Your complaint shall be addressed within 7 days. Remember to keep a copy of your communication with us. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.